Have you ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right to lose weight, but your own body is fighting you every single step of the way? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the science behind that exact feeling, the hidden, really powerful connection between our hormones and weight gain.
And this isn't some small niche problem. The World Obesity Atlas projects that by the year 2035, a staggering 4 billion people will be living with overweight or obesity. That's over half the world's predicted population. This is a massive global health crisis, and we really need to understand the biology that's driving it.
For decades, the whole conversation has been dominated by this one idea: willpower, right? Just eat less, move more. But for millions and millions of people, it's just not that simple. The battle isn't just in your head. It's literally happening at a cellular level.
So here's the big question. What if the real issue is that as you gain weight, your body's own hormonal systems get rewired to actually defend that higher weight? That's the core idea we're tackling today. And to answer it, we have to start with the biology of a powerful and honestly often overlooked hormonal feedback loop.
Okay, so first up, the vicious cycle. We'll start by looking at the biology in men, where this feedback loop is incredibly well documented. Now look, women face their own complex hormonal battles with weight, for sure, but the male model gives us a really clear, direct example of how this trap works. We're going to unpack exactly how gaining weight can create a hormonal trap that makes losing it feel, well, almost impossible.
So, there's actually a clinical name for this trap: MOSH. It describes a classic vicious cycle. Obesity causes your testosterone levels to drop, and then low testosterone makes it easier to gain fat and harder to build muscle, which, you guessed it, makes the obesity worse. Each problem just feeds the other.
So how does this cycle actually work? Well, the first key player is an enzyme called aromatase. It's found in your fat tissue, and its entire job is to turn testosterone into estrogen. So it's simple math, really. The more fat tissue you have, the more aromatase you have, and the more of your precious testosterone gets converted away. It creates this powerful negative feedback loop right from the get-go.
The second piece of the puzzle is a hormone called leptin. You might have heard of it as the fullness hormone. In a healthy person, leptin tells your brain you're full and helps keep hormone production in check. But with obesity, the brain can become resistant to those signals. It's like the brain's phone line is down. It just can't get the message. And when that happens, the whole communication system that controls testosterone release gets thrown into chaos.
And it doesn't stop there. There's a fascinating new area of research called the gelding theory that points to a third key player: our gut. It suggests that high-fat diets can change our gut microbiome, causing it to release these inflammatory toxins. These toxins can then get into the bloodstream and might directly damage the very cells in the testes that produce testosterone. So the big takeaway here is your gut health is directly linked to your hormonal health.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Check out how these pieces connect. You've got the three drivers we just talked about: excess fat cranking up aromatase, leptin resistance scrambling the signals, and toxins from a messed up gut microbiome. If you follow the arrows, you can see how all three pathways end up telling the brain to send weaker signals down to the testes, and the final result? Lower testosterone, which leads to less muscle and more fat. And that, of course, just strengthens the drivers we started with, locking this vicious cycle firmly in place. So, okay, we've established it's a biological trap. It's real. But what if we stop thinking about our body as an enemy and started thinking about it like an engineer would, as a complex system that, at the end of the day, follows a clear set of rules?
And the most fundamental rule is this one right here: the energy balance equation. Energy balance equals energy intake minus energy expenditure. It's just a law of physics. Every single change in body mass is governed by this simple formula. To an engineer, that's not a judgment, it's just the core operating principle. The real work is figuring out all the hidden variables that are controlling the in and the out, and that includes all those hormones we just talked about.
So the big paradigm shift is this. If we can understand the rules the system is following, including all those tricky hormonal rules we just went through, then we can learn to work with the system to change the outcome, instead of just feeling like we're constantly fighting against it.
All right, so how do we actually do that? Well, we start with what we can call the foundational fixes. These are the big interventions that aim to fundamentally reset the entire system we've been describing.
This table is incredibly revealing. I mean, just look at these numbers. A low-calorie diet that leads to about 10% weight loss, that gives a modest but definitely significant boost to testosterone. But then look at bariatric surgery, a 32% weight loss results in a testosterone increase of 9 nmol. That's a threefold increase. That's an amount that's actually comparable to what you'd get from taking testosterone therapy itself. This just proves that significant weight loss can, all on its own, break the vicious cycle.
But lifestyle changes and surgery aren't the only options on the table anymore. We are now living in an era of powerful new tools designed to directly hack the body's metabolic and hormonal systems. This is where modern medicine really starts to shine.
So testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, seems like the obvious solution, right? And it does have real benefits. It helps reduce fat mass, it helps increase muscle mass, but, and this is a big but, it's not a weight loss drug. It doesn't typically reduce your total weight on the scale. Plus, it comes with some serious downsides like potential health risks and suppressing fertility, which makes it a pretty complex choice.
But what if a drug could work on the other side of that energy balance equation? That's where we find the real game changers, GLP-1 agonists. These are basically drugs that copycat a hormone your gut naturally produces. They work on your brain to dramatically dial down your appetite, and they work on your stomach to slow down digestion, making you feel full way longer on way less food.
And the results? They were absolutely staggering. In a landmark trial, patients on semaglutide, you might know it by the brand names Ozempic or Wegovy, they lost an average of nearly 15% of their body weight. For a medication, a result like that was just unheard of.
And the innovation didn't stop there. A newer drug called tirzepatide, which actually targets 2 different gut hormones, pushed the results even further. The average weight loss climbed to around 20%. Just think about that for a second. More than half the people in the trial lost at least a fifth of their entire body weight.
And to put that in perspective, this is a level of weight loss that until very, very recently was basically only achievable with bariatric surgery. We're talking about a pill or an injection that is truly reshaping what's possible in treating obesity.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, we're entering a totally new era of weight management. And the key takeaway is that it's no longer about finding one single magic bullet. It's about having a diverse toolbox and knowing how to use it intelligently.
The modern approach really is personalized and multi-layered. It starts with understanding a person's unique biology. Are they stuck in that MOS cycle? Then, you build on a foundation of lifestyle changes. From there, you strategically add powerful tools like surgery or these new drugs when it makes sense. And maybe most importantly, it reframes obesity as a chronic disease that needs ongoing management, not some one-and-done fix.
But there is a huge real-world hurdle we have to talk about. These revolutionary treatments are expensive. Without insurance, they can cost over $1,000 a month. That puts them completely out of reach for the vast majority of people who could actually benefit from them.
And that really leaves us with this final, crucial question. For the first time in history, we truly have a toolbox of powerful medical interventions that can break the vicious biological cycles of obesity. The scientific challenge is being met. So maybe the next great challenge is a societal one. How do we make sure that these breakthroughs are actually accessible to everyone who needs them?